So good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are on Earth. So we are going to build up on what we have covered yesterday. Today we are going to talk about list comprehension. So list comprehension is nothing but an elegant way of generating a list in a simpler, advanced way. I use this word, simple and advanced way, but we will understand what I mean later. So a list comprehension combines for loops and the creation of new elements in one line. So you don't need multiple lines to do a thing that can be done otherwise with multiple lines. So let's see how the syntax of list comprehension is. So let's see this figure. So in the figure here, you can see we have an opening bracket, square bracket. Then we have output here. It can be expression. Then we have the keyword for. Then we have a variable name value. Then we have another keyword in. Then we have an iterable, which can be a list or range, dictionary, or other data structures such as string. Then an example here below, we are just mapping what we have here. Here we have output. So the output can be replaced with this expression. Then we have for, then we have value, then we have in, then here we have the iterable. Remember, yesterday we use a for loop to square numbers or to print out the first 10 squares of numbers. Let's see it. I think here it is, where we have an empty list. Then we have a for loop. We have this variable value. Then we have in. So we generate squares of numbers. Later, before we had a temporary variable where we keep the result of this expression. So this is done in about 4 lines. So this task can be done with a single line of code using list comprehension. So the same applies here. Here we have a value, the expression that we want to evaluate here, just like squares of numbers. Look at this value. So this value can be this. We have this value and we have this value. Then here we have value square. So how it works is we have a full this, whereby we have numbers from 1 to 10. Then from this pool of numbers or list of numbers, we take one number at a time, we put it inside the temporary variable called value. Then from this value, we take one number, the number, and make some kind of calculation here. So for every number we take here, we use it here. We take a number 1, put it here, then we use it here. So here can be a call to a particular function if you want. It can be a very lengthy equation or whatever. It can be any expression here. We'll see later. So this is the general syntax of this. We have the output here. So we are asking Python to do this with this variable. Do this with this variable. Then we have this 4 value in each row. This is for the collection we have. This is the collection. So for this collection, do this in this situation. So you can add the optional fact here. This one is also optional. It depends. If you are generating some values using comprehension, so this is a must. If you are not, this is the normal for loop we use, but you have to place a colon here. But this is the general syntax. We have this for this collection, do this in this condition. So provided this condition made, then generate a collection and do this. So let's see our first example. So the first example is generating the first 10 squares as we've seen here. So here is using the for loop, and here is using the list comprehension. So let's explain the first line. So here is the range that gives us, it gives 1 to 10. Remember, 11 is not included in our numbers, in our range. So it is from 1 to 10. Then from this 10, we take one value at a time. For example, the first run, it will take 1 and put it here. Then this one will be also taken to this. Then we say 1 squared, which will give us 1. Then later it will go to the next. So we have 2. Then 2 will be stored here, this temporary variable, and will be mapped to this value. So we have 2 squared, which will give us 4. Until we reach 10, whereby we have 10 here, then 10 will be mapped to this. So we have 10 squared, which will give us 100. So let's run and see what we have. So this is the result. So isn't this simpler and better way of generating the first 10 squares of numbers? Because look at this. We have 4 different lines. They make mistakes, but this one is just a single line. It generates everything in one line. Then from list comprehension does not only work with numbers. So we can use our example like magicians we have. I think we have magicians. Let's see. Yes, so we have magicians. So let's take magician. So let's do it together. Let's say we have this. So assuming we need to capitalize the first letter here, how do we do that with list comprehension? So let's run this first. So we have our magician. So how do we do that? So we can say magicians. Let's say magicians capitalized. Let's call it capitalized. Yes, so we have this. Then we do what? We say magician like this. Dot what? Dot title?
No, yes, sir.
So we want to capitalize the first letter. Or let's call it title here so that you understand it better. Let's call it title like this. So we have this. So we write for magician in what? Magicians like this?
Yes, sir. Magician.
So can this work?
Magicians. We hope so.
So is this? So let's run and see. Oh, so you see we have it capitalized. So you can do many things here. If you have function, you can make call to function here as long as you have the variable here. So it's so simple. So you see, let's say you have a list of numbers, maybe a list of numbers say we have like this. Let's say you have 0, 7, 0, 3, 6, 7, and 1, 2. Then we have another one. Let's say we have 0s0. I'm sorry if this is your number. Then we have the last one. Maybe here we have 090 this. Okay, for simplicity, because I don't want it to be so complex, let me remove the 0. So assuming you want to make this number, maybe you have a tax, maybe you open a portal website whereby you allow people to register. But unfortunately, instead of accepting the number using international formats, maybe you have +234, but you collect the numbers like this. So now you want to convert the numbers into international format. Maybe you want to append 234 to the numbers. How do you do that? So let's do it. So we have the list. Maybe you can call it numbers international. So how do you do that? We want to append 234 before the number. How do we do that? So let's write the for loop. Sometimes it's better to write the for loop first, then you write the number. So we write for number, yes, in numbers, right? So this will take each number here one by one and put it here. Now, instead of displaying the number, so let's display the number first. So this one will give us all the numbers here, but we want to append 234. So we write +234. Then plus this. So let's see. Will it work? Now, so you see we have all the numbers here. So you see how useful list comprehension is. Imagine you have 1 million numbers here. So you can do this with just this line, few lines of code, you can perform the operation. It will just concatenate your number with this 2, 3, 4. All the numbers you have, whether you have millions of numbers, this line will do the job. So any question about list comprehension?
Yes, sir. Can we call it concatenation?
Yes, this part is concatenation. That's why I gave this example, because we don't have many examples here. That's why I introduced this and this example. So imagine that you have another function. You can make call to function. Let's say you have this. Maybe you want to make calculations. Maybe you have a function called square. So you can call square here. You can say square. Maybe you create a function that you call square. Maybe you have I. Maybe you want to square I. So you can call it here. Then you say for I in maybe numbers, if you have numbers. So you can make a call to function here. Maybe you have another function that you want to call. You can still call it here. Maybe negate, for example. You have another function negate. So you can still call it here. So you can make many things here because this function does not exist. That's why you are getting this issue. So any question before we proceed to the next?
Yes, sir. The first example that you have just given.
Okay.
Before the current one, yes.
This
sir,
one.
in the capitalization.
Yes.
So it seems that there is a little difference with what you did yesterday. Because yesterday in using for loops, you say that like for instance here we have magicians underscore title is equal to magician dot title for magician in magicians. But so yesterday when you have
Yes.
the values for here, you say magicians is equal to, you just put out the names like Alias, David, and what have you. And then you now say, for magician in magicians, then you now put semicolon. Then you now come down and put a print magician. Magician.title.
Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. Because this course is about doing list comprehension here. So instead of wasting our time doing this, let's do that one. Let's say we have this. Instead of doing this, then we put semicolon. This one is called for loop. We are doing looping. This one is looping. So we have this pool of text. So we have list. This is our list. Then we take one item at a time. We put it here. Then we print the item here. Then let's say magician.title here. Title here. This one will do the same.
Okay.
When we run this, this is what we have. You see?
Yes.
So instead of doing this in multiple lines, we can do list comprehension. This one is called list comprehension. It's not for loop. So the syntax is different as well, because with for loop you have this, and you have to indent. But this one you don't need to indent. You do it all in one line. You understand? You have your output here, then you have for, then you have this, and you have condition. The condition is optional. So if you are generating maybe a integer or even numbers or odd numbers, so you can do your magic here with if. So if this modulus this is equals to 0, then do this.
Sir,
You understand?
Can you have example of that by putting conditions?
Of what? Yeah, we will go to it.
Okay, sir.
Yes, we will go to it. We will go to it. It's very simple.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you...
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I said I saw that you wrote the variable numbers on the we run the code and putting the
here. Let's finish this. We have to finish this day. Let's work with part of a list. That is slicing. So slicing, if you know set in mathematics, is just like subset. And subset